Good Wednesday morning, friends and neighbors of the Hapeville channel. Dewey here this morning. It is a beautiful 55 degrees. It feels warmer in the sun, but it's absolutely gorgeous here in Hapeville this morning. And I figured I'm gonna take a walk down Northside Drive today. But I started here at North Avenue and Old Jonesboro Road. You can see behind me, it's starting to turn color, this beautiful momiji tree. I always call it momiji because when I lived in Japan, that's what they're called. Here we call them Japanese maples. Did you know that in Japan, they have a whole process and a festival and a time of year where they deep fry the momiji leaves and you can eat them. They're a wonderful treat. Good morning, Doug. That's my friend Doug. Who lives down in Orlando. He is an actor friend of mine, and we've stayed connected online for years. I haven't seen him in person in probably 20 years, but Doug, thank you for being here. Beverly is here and Don is here. So I'm gonna take a nice walk this morning. I actually just hung a piece of art that I made. I have these flowers that I draw, and I just hung it up before I started live, so hopefully somebody in town will get that. Good morning, Matina. Good morning, Sherry Wyatt. She says, stop by Tim Dwayne Southard's old house so we can flash back. Well, if it's on Northside Drive or that area, I'll be happy to do that because that's where I'm walking today. I'm standing out in front of 429, which is right on the corner of Old Jonesboro and North Avenue. My friend Judy lives in that house, and I just think it's a beautiful little house. The house next to it, historically, that house was built, that lot was owned by the Grantham family. And decades and decades and decades ago, in the 20s, when they were building their house there is a story that I think his name was Jack Grantham, the father. I could be wrong on that. They lived in a tent on that property until their home was built. And he talks about how North Avenue back there 100 years ago was still dirt. As we continue down towards Northside, I'll show you number 3301 as well, right here on the corner, because it was renovated last year and sold. And it's a beautiful little house. It's on a busy corner though. So we're walking down North Avenue and we're going by the Church of Christ here. I'll turn this way, but the sun is really bright. But here's the church. And what I love about this is that this whole parking lot, the original church sat there, and then they built that building second and then tore this one down. Good morning, Kimmy. I hope you're feeling well. Kimmy is home recovering from some, I'll just say hospital work. I'm not 100% sure what it is that's causing her pain, but whatever it is, I hope you're having a good day today. As we pass by, this is number 421. It sold this year, and I swear when I take these walks, I'm really just enjoying the walk and wanting to share with y'all your town that you used to live in or do live in. But I feel like it sounds like I'm a realtor and I'm trying to like sell these houses. That's not the case at all. I'm just talking about them. But anyway, this is number 421, and there was a time back in the 80s when that belonged to Hapeville United Methodist Church. Their pastor would live there. What's that called? A parish? What's the building called where the pastor lives? This is number 413. It's beautiful. I love the beautiful, look at the garden. What are those? Some beautiful, really bright red flowers. And then they have a lovely front yard garden there. And I'll see them outside working on it every now and then. Don says, my boss at Delta and mayor of Hapeville used to lead the music. Gotcha. At Hapeville United. I think everybody in this town went either through that church or the Baptist church, of course. Okay, parsonage. Thank you, Beverly. Yes. That was their parsonage right there. I found some pictures in the archives at the depot of parishioners getting together and putting a big old brand new party deck on the back of that house. And it's still there. You can see it from the front. But isn't that beautiful? Number 413. Gosh, today's beautiful, you guys. This is a lovely house. Look at the trees. Look at the trees. Douglas and I, we were so excited about the leaves changing yesterday. We took our 5th trip up to the North Georgia mountains. We went up to Ellijay to see the leaves change, but we forgot that it's an hour and a half and a bunch of elevation higher than we are. So by the time we got up there yesterday, we realized all the leaves had already fallen. Most of them had already fallen. But we still had a great time. We went to a winery out there. We went to BJ Reese and got some fried apple pies. We had a wonderful day yesterday. And now we're back in Hapeville. So my intent today, this is 409. I am at Northside and North Avenue. For some reason, I woke up today and I was like, I'll walk down Northside Drive. I don't know why that popped into my head, but that's what we're going to do today. We're going to walk down Northside Drive. This person has some really interesting, good morning, and she's sitting out front, has some really interesting metal art out in the front of her yard, which is so pretty. I love it. That's number 3304. Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm taking a walk with my friends.
Oh, cool.
Showing them Hapeville. A lot of people that used to live in Hapeville don't live here anymore.
Hi, I'm Dana.
Dana? Oh, good. You're okay. This is Dana. Hi, Dana.
Hi.
And I see you here all the time at 3305.
Yep, that's it.
Tell me about the art that's in the front yard. Did you make all of that?
No, the guy in there who welds, he used to work for the train, at the train track place, whatever.
Norfolk Southern?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I don't know. It's off of Bankhead Highway or something.
Oh, okay.
That's where up there, but he's welded for many years.
It's beautiful. And he lives...
His family's on a farm in Brooks, Georgia.
Oh, so that's an actual piece right there. Yeah.
That is, and then that he made, and then...
Is that a dragon back there? It is, isn't it?
Two-headed dragon, yeah.
Oh, can I go look at it? I would love to. Thank you.
On down, he owns that other one. I think it's 3351.
On this side?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I'll take a look.
Okay.
Oh, I'd love to go look at the dragon if you don't mind.
No, you don't mind. I don't mind at all.
Thank you, Dana.
Things like that. He's a welder. He would
Wow.
make some things if he could for someone. That's it. Like, see, that's a bird feeder.
Yes. The white one?
Like, yes.
Oh, I see. Yep.
Or whatever it's supposed to be, or whatever. Then that's the two-headed dragon over there.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Those little bow things he makes. Those, see those like that hanging on there? Yep.
Wow, this is great. What's his name?
Ronnie Lindsay.
Ronnie Lindsay?
Yep.
Has he lived in Hapeville a long time?
Yes, for many years.
For many years.
And that other one on La Vista Drive, they used to live in that blue house. But that looks like a colonial.
Oh, yeah.
And they just did the brick.
I'm going to walk by there soon, yeah.
And so all the ironwork, he did that. They built that house, him and his dad, or something, I believe.
Oh, wow.
And then behind that house at 1351, there's that brown house, or whatever. He built that with his father, I believe.
Ronnie Lindsay. I'm sure some of the people here will be like, I know who he is.
I'm a caretaker to his wife.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, she's bedridden.
Oh, is she here?
Yeah.
What's her name?
Trish.
Trish? Lindsay?
Mm-hmm.
Trisha Lindsay.
Patricia. Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, thank you for letting me look at the art. I love...
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I remember you got the cool bikes.
Yes, we've got the cool bikes. Yeah.
Oh, which one are you over there?
We're on Walnut Street.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so you go over to Wheeler, turn right, turn left again. We live up on Walnut that way.
Y'all
Yeah.
been there long?
4 years.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah, we
great.
moved here from Manhattan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's good.
And we
I
love
was
this
born in
town.
Jersey.
Oh, you were born in Jersey? Yeah.
Yep, Bricktown. Well, Lakewood, Ocean County.
Oh, gotcha.
So, I don't...
I see you sitting out here all the time. You always get such
I-
good sun.
I keep peace out here from the sound.
Oh, I understand.
Try to.
Yeah.
I'm not making it.
Gotcha.
But anyway,
Well,
your name was?
Dewey.
Dewey?
Yes. Dana, nice to meet you. It'll be easy to remember your name because we both start with D's.
Yep, that's it.
Dana and Dewey.
That's it.
Thank you, Dana. You have a great day, too.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. I love taking morning walks and meeting people. There's 3304. So that's Dana. We see her outside walking, outside all the time, sitting there, and she always says hello when we go by. Number 3311 is beautiful. Has this circular drive out front. Oh, and they added a mural to the front of their house. Look it. I sound like a 5-year-old. Looky. Don Miller says, lots of my childhood classmates lived on the street. The Dimmicks. Dorothy Dimmick, I've never met her, but she lives over at the curve on Old Jonesboro now. The Evans, the Haneys, the Valeros. I've heard of Lou Valero, and I've met him one time. Hello, Kim Kinsey. Somebody sent me a message yesterday telling me about those apartments over on Dorsey and Old Jonesboro and said that you and your husband, I think Randy? Am I getting that wrong? Used to live above them or below them or something. We're walking down Northside Drive now. This is 3315. Oh my gosh, how beautiful is that? I'm never really crazy when people close in their porches in a wonky kind of way, like with wood and then a little window that doesn't fit, but this one's beautiful. They did glass and it looks lovely. Sherry Wyatt says, look at Linda. We'll flip to the other side. I came across who built this back in the 50s, but I cannot remember. And I just have to accept, I'm never going to remember who lived in every house and all of its history, but that's okay. I won't enjoy it if I try to grasp every little fact. This is number 3316. Look how beautiful it is set off the road. This is my favorite house on the street. Douglas and I watched this one like a hawk. It's 3320. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. I love that house. Here's number 3323. We're going down Northside Drive, down the hill. They're doing some electrical work here this morning. Good morning. 3323. This one is 3327. So as I was saying, as I always say when I take my walks in the morning, if you see anything, a home or a place or a person or anything like that that strikes a memory in you, please let me know. I love to hear your memories. This is 3331 and it has a beautiful glass porch on the end. Oh, that's lovely. That one kind of jumps out at you, doesn't it? This one is number 3332. Oh, look at the beautiful cars they have out here. If you're a car lover, you probably can tell what those are just by looking at them. I can't. I just go, ooh, those are cool old houses. We're going down past Argo and Northside now. Good morning, Penny. What a lovely house. Argo's a beautiful street. We'll walk down that another day. This is number 3339. And you can see, what I love about Hapeville is you can see generationally from decade to decade when you can get a general idea of when the neighborhoods were built. Like my neighborhood was the 20s, 30s, and 40s. Then you get over here and it's the 50s, 60s. You can see the westward movement, especially after the airport took so much land. This is 3343. People either left town or they moved north or they moved over into the Northwoods area, which is to my left. 3343. They've got all their Christmas trees in the front yard. Good morning, Beth. We're walking down Northside Drive now. This place has I've always found this really interesting because we're on the opposite side of Old Jonesboro Road over there. So up there in the woods, that's the Davis family cemetery. But then they've got this back house back there that is just like a cabin up in the woods. You would never be able to build that now in Hapeville, but back in the day you could build things like that on your property behind. And I've always wanted to go up and look at that and know more about it. But I'm sure a lot of young Hatevillians probably had their first apartment there, or who knows, but it's behind this house right here. Sherry Wyatt says, we used to cut down from Old Jonesboro to Northside when we were in school. Would you? Where would you do that through? Which one of these properties would you cut through? This is number 3351. Oh, this must be, she was telling me that Mr. Lindsay, Dana was just telling me Mr. Lindsay had some similar things in his yard down here, and I wonder if this is his house. Oh, behind that house, you used to cut through there, so right beside the cemetery. How cool. This is number 3355. Look at that. How idyllic is that? Oh, and the cemetery is right there. I've never been in there, but I've always wanted to go look around. if we had a historical society that was functioning and I was on it, that's one of the projects that I would propose for the city, is we'd get in there, clean it up, and make the Davis Family Cemetery an attraction here in town, or a, not necessarily attraction, but something that was cleaned up that people could go see and enjoy. It would be a nice little park like they did with Oakland. This is beautiful, number 3359. So I'm not really showing the other side of the street so much. This is 3364, 3356, because the sun is shining right in our eyes and you can't really see too much. But I love this property over here, and I'm assuming that they owned this whole corner, but it was recently sold. Oh, this corner was so beautiful. I've passed by here before, and I'm not going to get too wistful, but the pine trees that were here, you guys, holy monkey, they were gorgeous. Around the same time, all the pine trees here got torn down for a big monstrous house, like the most expensive house in Hapeville. I think it's going to be like $450,000 or more. And we lost that beautiful corner. At the same time, down here on the right, that colonial looking house down there, they tore out all of their pine trees too. Bums me out, but it's their property. They can do what they want. Julia Smith lived in the second house behind you from the crossroad. So I'm at the crossroad. First house, which I've been here 4 years and I've never seen a human being there. And there's a little sticker on the window. So that's just sitting here being quiet. Number 3366. You're saying Julia Smith lived there? It's a lovely little house. Unless you were talking about that house that I just passed, and that was Julia Smith, second house behind you from the crossroads. So she either lived there or there. So yeah, there's going to be a really big house there. All right, let's continue down. There is a creek that runs, we've got creeks everywhere, but there's a little creek that runs right behind here, goes under, goes back in that direction, comes across the road, and down behind Jan Hudson's house. Thanks, Beth. On the right side, the first one. Okay. This is number 3395. The sun's in the way, or I'd show you the front. It's got these beautiful archways in the front. And there's a woman and her husband and her son that live there. I have forgotten her name, but she's an artist. She does woodwork, and it's beautiful. And what I love is she still has, from the beginning of the pandemic, she had a beautiful wood sign out here in honor of all the first responders. Somebody hit it with a car by accident, but she also put, we are in this together, and it's been there ever since. And I like that. It still brings me comfort to see that. Some people may feel divided, but I choose to think that we're all in this together. Pandemic or no pandemic, we're on this planet at the same time. There's another garage and back house that was built out behind this house. And here's the little creek I was telling you about. It's just a little trickle. The old guardrail that's been here for decades. Oh, it's beautiful. Can you hear it? Beth says that Susan Greenway Kincaid lived at that house past the creek. And John Holder in the house with the new garage, this one. So John Holder could go out his backyard and come right here and enjoy this little creek. Look at that, it's so cute. You can't really see back in there. This is something I've always loved. I found creeks magical. All right, so we're going up Northside Drive, and here's a really big house. This used to have some amazing pine trees until a few months ago. This is number 3401. They tore out all the pine trees. They've added these, so I guess they're doing that for privacy. And then a little garden in the front. It's a beautiful house. Whenever I pass this house, I think about this archival photo I found from 1996. when the Olympics were in Atlanta, they, they do that thing where they run with the Olympic torch and pass it from one person to another. This is number 3409. And there's a photograph from 1996 from about this angle here, right about here. I've shared it on the Hapeville channel before. It's 1996, and it shows a crowd of people running down here, and one of them is holding the Olympic torch. The Olympic torch in 1996 came right through Hapeville, and not only that, it came right down this street. Isn't that amazing? Yep, this is number 3409. The houses over here are ranch style and beautiful, so it makes me think they're from the 50s and 60s. On this side, we've got 3408. Right here, the sun is in our eyes. There's a willow tree. 3411. I hope you're having a good morning this morning. I am definitely enjoying that it's warm enough that I only have to have one sweater on. This is number 3421. Okay, so here's something interesting. Now that I get to this point, we're on north side and it curves to the left. I was looking at a map, a gas station map that you used to could buy at gas stations. Remember those? You fold them out in your car and it takes up the whole front seat. And I was looking at this map. It was of Atlanta, and so I could look at Hapeville specifically. And I can't figure out, I wish I could show you the map right now, but over here, and I don't know what year that map was, because it's a digital copy of it, but this is north side right here. But on this map, it looks to be from maybe the 70s. And it shows Barnett Circle right over there, and then it says Grace Drive. And I'm looking at the map and I'm like, is that what this little, because there's no Grace Drive over here anymore. This is, if you go that way, this is Barnett Drive, and then Barnett Circle's right there, and then this way is Northside Drive. But it shows Grace Drive, and what I'm thinking is that at one time, before those duplexes went away that used to be up here. You remember the duplexes? They were called, I always forget their names. Something Forest. I can't remember. But you could go up from the park. You could go up Meadow Road and get right up in there. And then Meadow Road came out over here. I'm thinking that before that was torn out in 96 and they put in all of these new homes that they call Central Park, I'm wondering if up here on what is now called Parkview Place, I wonder if Grace Drive, because it shows it before Radar, which is down there. So I'm thinking here, somewhere here, there was a road called Grace Drive. Does anybody remember Grace Drive? This was the way I walked every day to work at Eckerd Drugs in the 80s, says Beverly. Aha! You walked all the way up there. I know exactly what you're talking about. That's fantastic. I could totally see. So you'd probably come up and around this corner. I love that you could walk to work. And I'm wondering, would you have turned, you would have turned here and walked up that way most likely. You could have gone all the way down and gone up, what is that? Not Colorado, La Vista. But I'm guessing you would have gone up here with Argo Drive on your left. Beth says, looking down Barnett, Steve Pan and Suzanne Love on the first house on the left. This one, then the Folds grandparents, then we lived on the corner lot. These three houses, so are you saying Steve Pan and Suzanne Love in the first house, the Folds grandparents lived there, then you lived on the corner lot, this greenhouse? Let's go over there. Now this is number 498 on the corner. This little house is so cute, but it is really in disrepair, and this is new actually. This huge branch just broke and has fallen down onto the house. And there's a note on the door that probably says, take care of that, y'all. But this is the cutest little mid-century modern house that has these monster trees around it. But I hope somebody can get it and make it look pretty again. Beth says yes, those three. Fantastic. That's number 493. Was it always in disrepair? It still is, my friend. 489. What an adorable little house. So the Folds' grandparents used to live there. Good morning, Sandy Carroll. This is a lovely little place that you lived. It's green now, 485. What a beautiful big corner lot right here on Barnett Circle. Now, I've only been down Barnett Circle one time in my life. I went down there to deliver an archival piece to, I want to say, Frank Lee, in that house right there. I had found a letter that his father, maybe his father was Frank Lee, I can't remember, but his father was a mayor at one point back in the 40s. And I found a letter that his father had written when he was a mayor in the 40s and put in a time capsule in the cornerstone of the rec center. They opened it up 20 years ago. They found a letter from his father, and somehow they never presented it to him. And I found it last year or the year before. And I went and gave it to him, and he got to read a letter from his father from 70 years ago, almost 80 years ago. So we're going down Barnett Circle now. And there's number 485. What a beautiful place you lived in. I'm sure you have a lot of memories there. Beth says, we lived in 485 from the 1960s on. Henry and I lived in the Circle from 1980 to the 90s. The White House was the Meltons. As in Deborah Melton? She lives over on Campbell now. I have a dog sitting gig next to her house. Here's number 3318. Thank you for sharing all your memories, everybody. I think that this circle is just beautiful. If I had to pick, if someone said pick a place, there's several places in Hapeville that I would choose. This is at the top of the list because it's idyllic back here. It's quiet. You're not going to get a lot of through traffic unless somebody's confused. 3322. The Meltons were the corner house. Okay, I'll see that again when we go back. Wow. So I wonder, does that mean that's where Deborah Melton grew up? Sounds like it. 3322. I've never met her in person, only seen her online. What a beautiful little house. My goodness, is it cute back here. 3326. I love the porch railing. They've got a fiery red momiji in their front yard. Look at that beautiful momiji. This is 3320. Look how red that is, you guys. Wow. Do you ever wonder when somebody's going to come out of their house and be angry and be like, why are you filming me? This is number 3334. So beautiful and quiet back here. This is where the Lees lived, where I brought that letter to them, 3338. Oh, it's beautiful. The Browns were 3334. Which one was that again? The one I just passed? Yep. The Browns used to live there. Oh, lovely house. Gosh, this one is so beautiful. 3327. That one could use some TLC, but it is adorable. And it gets a lot of wonderful sunshine in the morning, number 3327. Hear the airplanes? I don't even really mind it anymore. When I first got here, it was difficult. But I've learned the seasons. Wow, they've got a beautiful big backyard right here. What a lovely house. But in the wintertime, when the leaves fall off the trees, you guys know this, it's even louder. When the leaves are all on the trees still, it's not as bad, but we're closer to the airport at this part of Hapeville. I don't know how the ones on the south side of the tracks do it in Virginia Park. That'd be rough. Here's number 3319. Beth says 3324 was DeBoer. We had to go in with DeBoer? We had to go in with shovels to clean it. 3327, DeBoer? Debris? DeBoer? Beth said Mazer lived at 3319. Wow, y'all remember everybody. Oh, this one. The Mazers lived here. What a lovely little house. I love looking at houses like this where you go, well, that hasn't been touched in a really long time. Like, you know, the old porch, it's still got its cement bases, the original door, you can see it's sagging a little bit right there. I love that about Hapeville houses, and I love when people renovate them, remodel them. I prefer renovations rather than remodels. Keep as much as the original house as you can. Was that little shed in your backyard when you were here all those years ago? Number 485. So you're saying this is where the Meltons lived. Wow, it's still got its louvered, it's hard to see, but it's got its louvered porch glass windows. Okay, I am going to either... All right, what do I want to do? I think I'm going to head back towards home. It's beautiful down there, but the sun is right in our eyes, so I'm going to walk away from the sun. This one was recently remodeled, renovated, number 490. Doesn't look like anybody's in there right now. There's 494. I'm not going to film it too long because there's people out front, and it always looks weird when you have your phone pointed at people who didn't ask for it. Another look at 489. The Wests lived where the van is. I didn't see, oh, that van over there. So they lived there. Oh, that guy who just pulled in, he lives at the Melton's old house. He was coming out to the corner to look at me. It's funny. We live in a world where you have to be careful because some people are extremely fearful and suspicious. And when they see me walking around with a camera, it doesn't happen often, but every now and then I'll get someone who will approach me, and they often approach, sometimes, not often, they sometimes approach with anger, which is derived from fear. And so I try really hard to be compassionate because I choose not to live my life in a fearful state, which allows me to approach people with kindness and compassion rather than fear. I was over in Virginia Park a while back, and a woman approached me because I parked in the street out in front of her house, and whoo, boy, was she upset. And she came out and she gave that classic line, "Can I help you?" And I smiled and I said, "How would you like to help me?" Which, by the way, is my go-to answer. I taught my son that many years ago. When someone nastily comes up and says, "Can I help you?" they don't really want to help you. What they're saying is, "You have prickled my fear, and I need to approach you and be aggressive." And so I've said, you know, reply to someone who says, "Can I help you?" with, "How would you like to help me?" because that bats that ball right back in their court. So the Marshalls built 490. It was the first in the subdivision. Thank you very much for that tidbit. Beth says, "My dad built that shed." Did he really? Oh, how cool is that? Doug Mazer was a fireman in Hapeville. I feel like I've heard his name. Oh, De Boer had cats and dementia. I gotcha. Why is it that people with dementia often have cats? Sometimes I think, are cats causing us to go crazy? I would say yes. My friend Jen, we passed her house yesterday. She's got a new kitten that we rescued off the street. She's had him since July. The most beautiful cat you've ever seen, but he's literally driving her crazy. She's looking forward to getting him neutered very soon to quiet him down. Oh, it's so quiet here. I hope it's as quiet and pretty as it is here wherever you are. Well, let's see. Do I want to keep going until I get home? I'll do a census. Are y'all sitting at home with your coffee thinking, I could watch 5 more minutes of this until Dewey gets home, or should I just sign off? Trying to decide which, because I got to walk all the way home anyway, but now I feel like I don't have much to say. But if you're enjoying the walk and it doesn't matter what I have to say, I'll keep going. Penny said I went to school with Doug Mazer. I'm going to turn left. We'll go up Old Jonesboro slowly, because I'm 53. I know those of you older than me are going, oh, you're just a baby. I'm 53 with a body of a 63-year-old from all my performing on cement at Walt Disney World. 23 years. From the time I was 17 until I was 41, I was literally pounding the pavement at Disney, doing very physical comedy on the streets. And so I am reminded of that fact when I take walks around Hapeville. Ooh, but it was worth it, y'all. It was worth it. This house at the curve right there has a beautiful big magnolia tree in the front yard. Here's number 3391. And that's 3393. Beautiful houses on Hapeville standards anyway, a very busy street. So I may have mentioned this before. What's really interesting about this area is that before, this used to be a major thoroughfare. Before the major highways and such, people would come through Hapeville, and right down this road, I find many articles about car accidents here, all the way back to the advent of the car, happening on this tight curve. From what I understand, Dorothy Dimmick lives up there now. Never have met her. But right beside her house is the Davis family cemetery. I'm going to swing over here. We've seen this before in previous walks. 3384. They have a lovely rose garden in their front yard. But back at the inception of the town of Hapeville in the late 1800s, a man by the name of Cash, his last name, family name was Cash, he owned tons of farmland here. He sold it off to another man whose name I cannot remember, but he sold all pieces of it except this little parcel. It was never sold, and it still sits here, untended, overgrown, not owned by anyone individual that we know of that's still living. And also, I don't believe the city owns it. I don't know how all that works, but it comes up in conversation a lot. But the Davis family cemetery is there. And I know a lot of Hapeville kids over the years have climbed up this bank, or on the other side, gone through that little fence. You can see that little fence, you could no longer swing it open. But there's a cemetery up there, but that's so steep I can't get up there, and someday I will. I just know I'll know when the time is right, whether it be permission or invitation. But there's the cemetery wall along the side, and then 3350, 3363, and 3371, with another beautiful fiery red momiji in the yard. Penny says, Beth, you're Chip's sister, right? And Beth says, yes, Penny. Henry and I are at his house in PCB right now. PCB. Panama City Beach. Beth says, yes, I went to the cemetery as a kid. I've never seen it. I'd love to. From what I understand, the latest burial there was in 1941, so it's been a while. I love this house. It's beautiful. I hope you're enjoying the walk this morning. I sure am. Oh, it's pretty out. 3355. 3349. I love these little brick houses, and I always love the drama of a house on a hill. It just looks beautiful when it's on a hill. 3336. What do y'all prefer? A house that you drive down to, or a house that sits up on a hill? My preference is that. This one's really tucked down here, and look at the beautiful trees. I've only seen one human being ever at this house. I think that probably it's rented. But boy, it sure does look beautiful right now, doesn't it? Look at that. Oh my goodness, that's lovely. I wouldn't want to rake that yard. I think I wouldn't even try. I wouldn't even try. Nature is going to keep you busy, so why bother? Just go, you know what? It looks beautiful. 3341. There's a lovely elderly woman that I'll see standing out on her porch every now and then. I haven't met her, but I imagine she lives in there alone. I'm not sure. This one is another favorite because it's brick and it's my favorite color, which is green. 3337. Look how pretty that house is, you guys. I mean, come on. If you saw that in a realty magazine, you'd be like, yes, please. Ah, yes, that's another reason to prefer that, Don. On a hill, no flooded basements. Yeah, could you imagine a house like that where just the water comes off the street and goes down? How is that avoided? This is number 3328. I mean, it's beautiful, but look at this. I wonder when it rains, does all that water just go down and into their garage? And I'm like, don't they think of stuff like that when they build houses? Like that has to be what happens. Okay, what the hell? Look at that. I always forget the names of the lovely couple that works here, that lives here. They moved here a couple years ago. I met them at the depot and I chatted to them about how wonderful Hapeville was, and they moved here. So I like to think that they moved here because I sold it to them. I always forget their names, and he has a very unique name, and she makes some beautiful jewelry. Here's number 3333. You won't forget your address when it's all threes, will you? Beautiful. Another beautiful brick house, 3320. This reminds me of something you'd see in the Northeast United States, both of these houses. They look like houses you'd see in Massachusetts. Don says that tree has always been beautiful. Oh, there's two of them. You look. I turned around to take another look, and wow. Wow. Come on. Now, let's say this house is in the market and you drive up in the summertime and you see this. You're going to go, oh, that's nice. But you may not take real notice. And you may even go, ooh, I'm afraid those are going to cause issues at my house. But then fall comes and they put on their drag costumes. And you're like, yes, queen. Yes, please. Beautiful. 3325. 3321. Gosh, these are cute with the old awnings on them. Those awnings are beautiful when it's a rainy day and you can sit outside and watch the rain drip off of them. 3317. My friend Michael Randman told me when he was a teenager he lived in this house. I like to think of that when I come by. Here we go. Here's a better look at this church now. I don't know what it was called when y'all were here, but it's just called Church of Christ now. It's got this interesting big empty lot back here, and one day I walked all the way back there and I found some headstones, but they're not like marking where anybody died. They're just kind of laying there, and it makes me think they were headstones that, I don't know why, but they're there. I'd walk back there now, but they've put up a little fence, so I think it means don't do it. Don't do it, Dewey. But this was not the original church. The original church was bigger. Ironically, they built a second building and it was smaller, but the original church sat right there. The Millers lived with the orange tree. He bought the tree as a seedling from Wisconsin. Really? Over here, those trees that we were talking about? That's neat to know. I'm going to screenshot that. The Millers lived with the orange tree. He brought the tree as a seedling from Wisconsin. They tore down the old sanctuary for some reason. Yes, they did. Oh my God, that just scared the Jesus out of me. I looked down, I thought it was a snake. Woo! Yeah, they tore this down. I can't remember why. I read about it in the museum, but I can't remember why they tore it down. It had something to do structurally. I forget what it was. I want to say there was something wrong with the basement and they had to tear the whole thing down, or the roof. There was something structurally unsound. They wanted to save it and they couldn't. By the way, y'all remember this. Every Wednesday at noon, although lately, zero have I heard it. It didn't happen yesterday. It's not really consistent. When I first moved here, it happened every day, every Wednesday at noon. Then it just stopped. Then we had a couple tornado scares and I had to run to my neighbor's basement. And I was like, why didn't that go off? Thank God I have an iPhone that told me. And we had a tornado that went 1 mile north of us. I don't like spring in that regard here in Georgia because I've never lived anywhere where you have to be afraid of tornadoes. It's trash day, by the way. And they're coming up from my street. So yay, my trash is gone. Here is 3301 again. Judy has a little library on the corner. Linda Sullivan in the second house from north. Ah, that direction. Gotcha. I wish there was a way I could write all this down, but like I said, there was a time where I was like, oh, I gotta get all this info and keep it down, because I keep a file on my computer of the address of each house that I obtain information about. So in the future, I can leave that to the museum. When there's another crazy nut like me who loves stuff like this, they can, if somebody wanted to ask, you know, do you know anything about my house? They can pull up the folder with, say, 3294 in it. And I could say, John Smith lived here from this time to this time. But it got so crazy and I was spending so much time. I was like, okay, I can't collect every little memory and bit of information. That's just insane. I'll just collect the really outstanding stuff. 3290. Good morning, Don Stallings. I'm coming to the end of my walk, but feel free to watch it in replay once I'm done. If you'd like to take a beautiful little walk here in Hapeville. I'm on Old Jonesboro Road heading north to my street, Walnut Street. So at the end of these walks, if I keep rolling, you're always going to see Walnut Street again. And all the new houses here on this stretch. It's Walnut and Old Jonesboro. Walnut continues that way up to Forest Hill. And I've showed you these before. All new infill here. Here's number 446. They have a little stone cat out front that I love. He's just always asleep, always happy, and always peaceful. I love that little stone cat. Oh, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do today. I have some wood left in my woodshed for some birdhouses that I cut in March, but when I was out there in March, I injured my hand and I haven't been able to work on my birdhouses since March. But there's 5 or 6 of them left that need to be put together and painted. They're bluebird nesting boxes, and it's such a pretty day. I think I might, there's number 456. I think I might do that today, because it's just a day of rest. And for me, rest doesn't always necessarily mean laying down to read a book. I love doing it, but I find it difficult on a beautiful day. I get inspired on beautiful days and I want to create. Here's number 463. This little house was renovated the first year I moved here in 2018, and at the time it sold for about $250,000. And then bam, this happened right after it. But I remember when I saw that little house was $250, I couldn't believe it. This house hasn't had anybody in it since I got here. There's an elderly man that lives down at the corner of Old Jonesboro and Walnut, and he owns this and he uses it as a shed, basically. And I've never seen the people here either, but music videos get filmed here a lot. Beth says, I was wrong. The Millers were 3305. The tree must have been cut down, but those orange trees must have been babies of it. I bet. Mr. Miller brought the tree seedling in his pocket. What a beautiful piece of information to know. Thank you. Again, my friend Jennifer's house. I love this that she put out in her yard. Free your spirit. I was joking with her the other day and I said, don't be surprised if that one ends up missing. Someone's gonna mistake that for free. Free your spirit. She's a lovely human being. She's our best friend on this street. So we're coming to the end of the walk here on Walnut Street. I hope you enjoyed it this morning. Thank you for joining me. And as it starts to get colder and colder, I'll be doing this walk less and less because admittedly, I do not like being out when it's cold. So I'll be inside this winter creating art. And I'll probably share that with y'all. But when spring comes, I'm sure we'll do a few more of these walks. It's not going to be cold yet, but when spring comes, we'll do them again. You know, my hope is that, I have in my brain that I'm going to take people on tours live, either on bicycles or walking. I want to do tours for people here in Hapeville, because there's so much to see and so many stories to tell. And I don't know, it's just something I feel drawn to do. All right, the garbage came by, so I'm going to take my garbage can in. Dave, thank you for joining me. I'm at the very end of my walk now, but feel free to go back and enjoy. Oops, I fell in a hole. Enjoy the replay. I appreciate y'all joining me. And create yourselves a great day. Bye.